Are you ready to embark on a transformative journey? Hi, I am Sharon Kumara, host of Awakened Soul. By tuning into Awakened Soul Radio, you will be inspired to shed the illusions that bind you, connect more deeply with your inner wisdom, and step into a liberating life of freedom, clarity, and purpose. Each episode, I share stories and lessons learned that help cultivate greater compassion, patience, and understanding, qualities to embody in everyday life. I invite you to join in as we expand our awareness, exploring diverse topics, and gain access to practical tools, guided exercises, and expert advice to help overcome fears and break the chains that bind us. Join us on Awakened Soul. Your journey to freedom and true self begins here. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Awakened Soul Radio. I am your host, Sharon Kumara, and author of Awakened Soul, My Near-Death Journey Home Through Christ's Infinite Love. I tried to say. I have it here, and I usually pull it out, but I forgot to pull it out. So here it is, right here. You can find this on Amazon. And I am here. I'm really excited because I'm here talking with a fellow NDEer, I guess you could say, Tyler Deal. Hi, Tyler.
Hi, nice to see you, Sharon.
Nice to have you here with me and to meet you face to face. You know, sort of.
Right.
So I can't wait to hear about your NDE. I've seen you all over the internet. I know that you've probably shared it a million times. So I hope that you will honor us with sharing your NDE here too, because it sounds really amazing, of course. And then a little bit about the aftermath, because that's kind of the journey, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I even though I've shared it a lot, it's always new when I do. That's always a new experience when I share it with somebody new. So, yeah, I'm happy to do that. So,
Good. Thank you.
yeah.
So take it away.
Okay. Yeah, so it happened in 1997, in May of 1997. It was the end of my second year of college. I was going to college in Northern California and amongst the redwood trees and by the ocean. And I was yeah, I was a 20-year-old, 20, yeah, I was 20 years old, and I didn't know anything about life or who I was, or was very depressed. I knew I was on a spiritual path because of circumstances that were happening previously to that. I was getting into spirituality. My mom introduced me to a lot of that in high school, and but it didn't quite click. I still was trying to figure out who I was, I guess you could say. And yeah, I just really, that second year of college, I was in a spin. I was in a lot of depression. I was identifying with the ego, I guess you could say, with a part of me that really thought that I was a depressed person and I wasn't meant to be happy. And um, so I began to just call out, like, I don't want to be here anymore. God, I life sucks. I just, please take me. And so I was in that internal conversation for a while. I'd probably say a couple months before it actually happened. And the end of the semester after finals, I was like, okay, this is it. I can't do this anymore. Please take me. And it was about 4 days later that I had a accident. I was on a mountain bike. I was in the forest, in the redwood forest, and going, riding amongst the usual trails that I was very used to, but I couldn't see the beauty around me. I was just in this fog, literally, and actually there was fog that morning, moving through the trees. So yeah, I went down a hill. I was like, okay, I'm going back home now. and I started to take a bunch of jumps. And the very last jump that I had taken, um, as soon as I hit the jump, I noticed that somebody had altered it, like I was so used to it before, but when I hit it, somebody had built it up even bigger. And so I wasn't ready for that. And so I flew up in the air and came crashing down on the ground. And then I was knocked out immediately, you could say. Um, yeah. And so the next thing that I remembered, I didn't have a form. I was just kind of a light, I guess you could say. Or a ball of light. I don't even know how to describe it. I just didn't have a physical form, but I was in the vicinity still. I was above the redwoods or kind of at the very top of the redwood trees. And I was experiencing that everything around me was me, really. And how that was happening was I could feel everything in me, and yet I could notice that there wasn't really any boundaries past my this me, I guess, this ball of light. I will just use that, I guess.
Hmm.
And so, I could hear birds chirping, I could hear dogs barking, and it felt like it was all happening within me. Um, I could hear the waves of the ocean crashing, and that was 5 miles away. Um, I could feel the air, but it was like air moving through me, the breeze moving through me. And yeah, so I was having this experience, and it was it was phenomenal. Like there wasn't any like beings of light coming to me or anything like that. It was just my experience of being one with I guess you could say like the physical world, but it felt um like we see trees and plants and everything like that around us here in these bodies, but it was like that, but it was like everything was alive to the 10th degree. I don't know how else to explain it. It was like the breath was moving through me, the aliveness of nature was moving through me.
Can I ask you
uh,
a question?
yeah.
Did while you were at oneness with everything, did you have a sense of being Tyler as well?
Yes, I felt like, yeah, it felt like me, not the me that was
Here.
being depressed and
Oh,
going
right.
through a catharsis, or
Mhm.
that part of me, which I've ended up eventually having a lot of compassion for. But it was like, oh, this is me. Like, it just felt like me, like
Gotcha.
who I really was. Yeah, just
Mhm.
like light and love, I guess you could say.
Nice. I've got goosebumps while you're saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how long because there's no time, but I was in that space, and then I did hear a voice, which it felt like me. It wasn't like my earthly voice, and it wasn't like some big voice from above or anything like that, but it was just like this gentle voice that says, do you want to go back, or do you want to go further? And and I said, I don't want to die. And as soon as I said that, I was back in the ground in my body, and I could feel the pain. I could start to feel a little bit of the pain. Then it rose in intensity. It was almost like there was more and more pain coming into my body. I couldn't really move at all. Like I don't even know what, I was all kind of bent out of shape. Um, and yeah, so I began to open my physical eyes. And then that's when I saw fairies around me.
Wow.
And, and they were, yeah, there was just this outpouring of love and joy. And it was like they were happy. I mean, they were fairies. They were, zipping around me, and it just felt like, oh wow. It was like they felt like they were showing me life can be joyful. And there were a lot of them too. They were coming down from the trees, and I always had a sense that they were around the redwoods like very strongly. And I actually had an experience prior to that, almost a year prior to that, where I saw them when I closed my eyes at night. But yeah, so I was experiencing that for a while, and then I began to hear like this beautiful humming, almost like an angelic humming, singing bowl type uh, um, sound, and I could actually feel that vibration moving into my body. It was like it was helping my body in that moment, and I knew it was the trees. I just knew it was the trees, and so yeah, again, time. I don't know how long that was happening, but there was a point where the pain almost became unbearable. Like I noticed that again, like all of this was happening at once. The
Mm.
beauty and the fairies, and then also the pain. And then I became more aware of the pain, and that's when I went out of again, like my I wasn't conscious anymore. So the next time I woke up, I was in the hospital there in town.
Oh, yeah. Did you have a head injury?
Yeah, I had a really bad concussion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm finding them a lot of people when they have head injuries, they're remembering their NDEs for some reason. Um, yeah, I don't know. It seems to be some kind of pattern there. I don't know. But I have to share that after my head injury, because I had a head injury too, during my near death experience, I would sit out in my backyard and I can hear the fairies. And I could not see them like I shared with you earlier, where I could, in an out of body experience, I could see one in the hallway, uh, but I just could see them in my mind's eye. And I could hear physically the trees humming. And I was connected to the mother tree. I write about it in my book. I have a whole chapter on what I was
Oh,
experiencing in my
cool.
backyard. Yeah. And the mother tree was talking to me and helping me heal. I've got goosebumps now talking about it. She was talking to me and telling me which tree in the other yard was her mate and which were her children, that kind of thing. We were having these conversations. So to hear that you were hearing the humming of the trees, wow, I love that. That's
Yeah.
that's just how it felt for me too.
Oh,
When
that makes me really excited because I haven't heard anybody else talk about that before, and I haven't done my own research on it, but I think that's cool. That's like kind of not that I need confirmation, but it is kind of confirming. Like, oh, okay, that's what
right.
they do.
So they communicate, at least
Yeah.
that's, and she knew that I was communicating with her, and she would send me energy through the ground. I would sit on the ground and she would send me energy to help me heal my body after because, like you, I was banged up, but it sounds like you were banged up. My experience is different where I believe I was healed on the other side, but she would send me healing energy, the humming through the ground, and I would sit on the ground. She'd tell me to sit with my back to her, and I could feel and hear the healing that she was sending me to.
Oh, beautiful. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that is crazy. I haven't heard anyone describe it that way either.
So cool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I interrupted you. So please continue.
Yeah, so I guess after that, I when I woke up, I was a little bit numb off of it must have been painkillers, and um because I had the head injury, I didn't really know where I was and who I
Mm.
was or anything like that. So the doctor was asking me a bunch of questions, who are you? What's your name? Where are you from?
Yeah.
You go to school here in town, all these things. And I just was like shaking my head. I don't know. I don't know. And he said, "Do you know any phone number we can call?" And I just blurted it out. It must have, it was just came out of my mouth. And that was a family friend um, that have lived in town for a while, and they were friends of my parents for a very long time in California. And yeah, so they came and got me, and I did recognize them.
Oh,
And
good. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, so it wasn't like, who are these strangers picking me up? So I did recognize them. Um, my memory was slowly coming back. I just knew that I was in a lot of pain. And I was there with them for about a week because the doctor said, not to move around too much. And so I was there for about a week before my mom came down and got me from Washington State
Mm,
and flew me home. So,
yeah.
yeah. So, and then everything after that is, I mean, a lot. And I actually hadn't, like, this was going on, kind of in the back of my mind, this whole experience for a very long time. And I never shared it. I shared it a little bit with my mom because she understood. Uh,
Yeah.
but it wasn't, I just, I'm like, oh, if I tell this to anybody, they'll think I'm crazy. This is even back in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's like, once I saw on the internet that people were talking about it, I'm like, oh, people are actually talking about their experiences. It must be the time for that, right? And that's where the inspiration eventually came. Yeah, hesitantly, but it did.
Right. Yeah, I was kind of the same way because mine wasn't that much longer after yours. And you said 97?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My dad died, my stepfather died in 98, and that's when things started happening for me, even before my NDE. And I started having out of body experiences and things like that. So it was around the same time. And I know
Mm.
well, it took me a couple years to put things together. I was having memories, but I didn't know I didn't know how to put the pieces together. So
Did
I
you
was,
write about it like before you shared it with other people or?
oh yeah, I'm a big journaler. And
Mm.
well, ever since Christ and I started working together, because I met him, he met me in the NDE. He told me journal. You got to journal everything. That is what helped me heal. So I journaled everything, and I was getting memories through my meditations and just out of the blue, and also in my out of body experiences and visions and things like that. So they came out of nowhere, and I'm like, what? And then he helped me put it in some and be able to remember, oh, this is not a dream. This, you know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
do. I do. Yeah. Yeah, the logical mind wants to make up
Right.
stories like, oh, this didn't happen to you, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad that you're sharing it for sure.
Thank you. Yeah.
I do like the part, I love this part. Well, of course, the fairies and elementals and everything. I love that. But I love the part where you say you were one with everything. I, my, in my NDE in 2000, when I was 9, I had a similar type of experience, very different than in 2001, where I felt one with everything, but it was in the dark space. Have you ever had an experience like that? Because I know you have a spiritual journey afterwards that I want to get into with you too, if you would share that.
Yeah, so what do you
Like
mean
the
by dark
void.
space? Like,
Well, not in the light, because in the second one I was in the light and I was one with. I was just. I guess it wasn't like I was one with everything. I was just filled with love and light. That's all I was love and light, and I lost track of me. I wasn't me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And yeah, so that was the light. But then I remembered when I was 9, whatever year I'm not going to share the year, but when I was 9, I when I had my NDE, I left my body and was in a dark space,
Oh, okay.
and it took me a long time to be able to unpack that and talk about that because even though I felt complete peace and it oneness with everything, um, but I hadn't heard, people were talking about the light all the time, you know. And I finally interviewed a woman who said she was in the void, which she described, or what she called the void. She described what sounded similar to my experience when I was 9. Have you experienced that primordial space, I guess is what it is?
Yeah, I guess the closest thing I could say with that would be, certain experiences that were very difficult as a child. I would, I could check out pretty quickly if I wanted to, and I would do that, like, okay, I don't want to be here, so I would go to a space, and through my dreams, I would have, very clear dreams where um, there was like nothingness, I guess you could say, like there's a nothingness.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, there was a lot of dreaming in that space. Um, but as far as yeah, that was my only NDE. But yeah, like I've had experiences of, I guess you could say, dark places.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one felt very supportive and expansive, very expansive. This place, this space, whatever it is. But yeah. Um, anyway, it was very different than my 2001 NDE, and it's there wasn't anything negative about it whatsoever. Oh, and I also wanted to share, and I realized, as you know, and as we, and I'm sure you can affirm this, as we ponder these experiences, we gain more insight into, into them, and then also that you start connecting things together, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
When in my NDE, when I was 9, in the dark space, I saw light coming toward me, and Christ came out of the light. And I realized later, oh my gosh, this primordial space might be the, I don't know, the somebody I interviewed once call it the primordial mother. And then the light would be maybe perhaps what we call the father. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So there was
Hmm.
light penetrated the dark space. I
It
don't know.
does make sense. Yeah, I mean, it does. I guess like on a bigger cosmic level. I mean,
Right.
you know that I'm getting the imagery of like, like the womb and the place of where everything is birthed, and then
Yes.
and then like light comes from that place.
Ooh, I got
So
goosebumps. Yes. The positive and negative, however we want to call it, we call it the
mhm,
positive and negative, male and female, masculine and feminine kind of thing.
right.
Yeah. And then the light, when the light penetrates the dark space, that's where he was projecting, or life emerged for me, for him to come say, you don't have to go back if you don't want to. And I'm like, but I want to. Yeah. But anyway,
Uh,
yeah, thank you. You put that into a better perspective for me. That was, I ponder stuff like that.
yeah, it's interesting things. Those are interesting subjects to ponder, um, ultimately, I don't. I ultimately, I guess, like I could say I do know, but like my consciousness here doesn't quite know, and like, but there's a curiosity there, when you're talking about it. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I
It
wonder how
makes
that plays out.
sense, doesn't it? It kind
It,
of
it
makes
does make sense.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that maybe the dark, I mean, the cosmos is dark.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's like I think, here on Earth we've equated dark with bad and light with
Right.
good. It's like
Hmm.
it's not at the level of source, right? I mean, it's like it's all light, I guess you could say, or it's all beautiful.
It is. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Uh, okay, backtracking.
Mhm.
I do love the experience where you were one with everything. Can you share a little bit more of that? Because I love hearing about it.
Yeah, so it's almost like, when you get like chicken. Well, in Hawaii we call it chicken skin. It's the same as goosebumps, right?
Oh,
Like
right.
like
Hmm.
that feeling. Um, I've had experiences, you know, where I'm sleeping and I've had rushes of light come through my body where I can't even move. There's so much, and it
Mm.
actually wakes me up. So and it's, words are, it's hard to describe in words. It's like it was that constantly happening, like that amount of light moving through when I was, I guess, above the trees and feeling at one. It was like constant goosebumps, I guess, or light, and it was just, it felt natural. It didn't feel dense. It felt like, but there was no body, but it was like my being was feeling that, almost like it was generating that or
Oh,
something.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like I've heard different things like, oh, well, you were in a different dimension. I'm like, well, I could have been, but it's like, this reality feels very real. And when I was there, it felt, I don't want to say more real, but it felt more natural. Like it felt like, oh, this is how it is. There are no like blinders or perceptions that were filtering my experience of nature or my experience of feeling at one. I think that's the best way to describe it. I didn't have any filters, or I didn't have any expectations that things needed to be different, or
Right.
there was a clarity, like just like a pure clarity in that space. And
I love that. You didn't have the body to filter what your experience was because we carry our history and memories and filters with us. So you were in
yeah,
that, yeah, it sounds like you were in that space of our natural state, perhaps
yeah,
without a vehicle.
yeah. And it was interesting too, Sharon, because it was like it wasn't, I was hearing animals and I was connecting to the elements,
Um,
and there were no people, there were no bodies, or other than that voice that came through. It was like it was all nature. And I guess that's what I needed, because that's
yeah.
that's where I feel most connected is with the planet and being in nature, and in my body here.
Hmm.
So that's it was like, oh, this is what, God was giving that to me. This is what Tyler needs, is to have this experience.
Right.
Um,
Because you said you were done, you wanted to leave, right? And
yeah.
so you changed your mind when you had that experience.
And the instant thought of I don't want to die came out of nowhere. It was almost like I'm not ready, not Tyler speaking, but the part that was saying like I'm not ready, you know.
Right.
And I knew, like, even when I was feeling the pain, it's like, okay, I'm back. I knew it was going to be hard. It wasn't going to be like, oh, this is going to be great. I get to share this wonderful experience. It actually got worse for a while for me. So yeah.
I can relate to that. I don't think I've talked to an NDEer yet that hasn't had a tough time afterwards. And I was warned too, but they're
Yeah.
just, yeah, I guess it was a warning. I don't know, but yeah, it's to me, it's kind of like a rite of passage, I guess you could call it, or integration, because it's a lot of processing to go home or whatever to access the higher planes or whatever plane we're in when we do have a remembered NDE. It's a lot to process, and our body can only handle so much. Our brain can only handle so much, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, it took me many years to process it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very slow process. I know, not to compare myself to others because everybody's so unique, but
Right.
I've heard stories of people, they get their gifts right away, or they start speaking about it right away, or they have this experience. But I felt very alone. I was very alone in my experience.
Yeah, I
Um,
was too. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's difficult. You don't have anyone to share, and you don't know that it's. I mean, you don't know what it is. You don't know why you. Where is this coming from? Definitely. You don't have any frame of reference.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I guess we need that here in some regards. We need some kind of frame of reference because
right. Yeah. Especially when you're trying to, I mean, I was trying to hold down a job. I'm sure you were young. You were 20, right? Were you
yeah.
in college? So you were, working on that and everything. So, yeah, it's difficult for sure. And I have to admire, I guess, people who remember right away. I'm like, wow, that's really amazing to remember a near death experience, especially some as profound as what some people have shared that I've heard. That's crazy to remember all that right away. Because that's a
Right.
lot of information for your body to hold.
It really is. Yeah, my body shut down. Like I couldn't hold that much. And it took,
Yeah.
it took like even when I was ready to be inspired to actually tell my story, there were still pieces coming in, and then I told it, I think, in one interview, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then, I got like another memory that came in, and then so it was like, oh yeah, then this happened too,
Right.
so
Yeah. Yeah. Spirit knows, God knows. Christ, the Christ in us, Christ knows what we can handle, what we can't.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you afterwards, switching a little bit here, I'm assuming that you did start having started your spiritual journey or awakening. I guess you could say you're in Hawaii now. So I mean, talk about nature.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I started it. I would say like there was a period because I was in so much pain in my body that I met a healer,
Mhm.
and he was a network chiropractor, and for 9 months in Washington State, I worked with him, and I mean, profound changes were happening with me and in my body, and I could feel more in my body. Like I think he like helped me. It wasn't just the physical body he was helping. It felt like he was helping me, like more of me come in, if that makes sense, or more light come
Sure,
in. He
sure.
was assisting in it. Like I know he wasn't doing it, but he was a catalyst to help. And so then I got interested in doing body work. I'm like, oh, this would be interesting. And then about a year, it was about 10 or 11 months after my NDE, I helped my mom move to Hawaii. So that was 1998. I basically saved her life in a way from a situation that was happening, and we came out here.
Mm.
And yeah, but I was really depressed for a long time. I didn't I could say that a lot of people in their 20s, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know who they are, what they're doing, but it's like, well, everybody's experience is different. So mine was very much that, and I just ended up traveling for a while. I did some acting. I came back to Hawaii and learned some body work, and then I just noticed that I worked with this throughout all this too, throughout this process. And I have to give credit to, I consider her my first spiritual teacher. Her name is Jo Dunning.
Mhm.
I met her in 1994, I think. My mom introduced me to her, and she had a really profound, just a huge influence on my life. And she does to this day. She passed last year. Um, and so she would just teach me these little things that I could do to help me through my life, and she was there for me for a very long time, and I was very grateful. So I had learned healing through her. I was like part of a group that did remote healing,
Mm.
um, and this was back in the year 2000. And so, yeah, I became very interested in, like, how energy moves, how it moves through the body, what the patterns are, people's patterns, how that can be, how love can be brought to that, and compassion, and how, um, so yeah, I became very interested in those kinds of things, you could say.
Oh, yeah, that's fascinating. The body is, we, and I say this a lot in when I do interviews as well is after my NDE, well, during my NDE, Christ took me to a water planet, and I was all of a sudden the planet. I was the planet, the mother, the planet of the planet. It was I was connected to the matrix of the planet. I knew that it was a home planet for me, as a water planet, and I felt so much love for the planet, for all the beings on my body. I knew that this planet was my body. I felt so much love and caring for all the beings on my body. And I realized afterwards that we don't, our body is our planet, I guess you could say our vehicle. We don't love it enough. We don't love it. We've been programmed not to love it, to always, compare or whatever. And then, it just poisons it around. But I love the fact that you're working with people to take more care with their body and love their body, because that's so important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. So that's I mean, that's really cool that you felt that at that level, that you were the planet. It's almost like you could see that, how our bodies are really are a part of this planet. I mean, I know
Yes.
we aren't our bodies, but they're also we're a part of them, or they are a part of us, I should say. It feels more accurate.
Right.
And the earth is like, so then that means that we are also part of our bodies are the earth.
Yes, totally. And we can connect to Mother Earth too in that same way and have that connection, which I'm sure you've had, but have that connection with Earth. I heard actually, we were talking about the trees and stuff. I actually heard Mother Earth's sound when I was sitting in my backyard. That backyard was my sanctuary after my NDE, where I sat and communicated with whoever wanted to talk to me, the birds, the trees, and
Uh-huh.
the planet. Okay. I didn't realize it that I at the time that Mother Earth was going to talk to me. But yeah, it was amazing.
That's so cool.
It
Yeah.
was it was like a, how do I describe it? It was like a humming sound, but it was more of a chime. It's hard to describe. But you mentioned that the trees had some kind of an angelic sound, right?
Yeah, it felt like it was an angelic, but it was like kind of like a deep tone, like a
Yeah.
ooh, like a singing bowl or something like that. And then,
Mhm.
I think all different trees are different. Like that's intuitively
Yeah.
what I'm getting. Like the redwoods are these huge, tall, tall trees, and they had like a lower, but um,
Aren't they like
yeah.
aren't
What's that?
redwoods? Aren't they guardians?
Yeah, they're guardians. I have four of them that follow me around. Well, I'll in dream time, I'll just
Yeah.
say dream time.
Yeah.
Um, they are there that they'll show themselves up to help me get back into the strength that I might need for a certain day, or just in my life in general, like,
Yeah.
that positive power. But yeah, they told me they're not the biggest trees on earth. There were bigger trees beforehand,
Mm.
like hundreds of times bigger.
Wow. Probably the
Yeah.
giants roam the planet.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That's what we're giants.
Yeah, right. Right.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think, it's like we are these infinite beings, and yet, like, just having an experience of Earth is such a mystery. It's such a gift.
Yeah,
Being it like you said, being able to communicate, and just like, oh, who's going to talk to me? And the birds come, and they do.
you do. Yeah,
That. So,
totally.
yeah.
Yeah. So, you have a practice then to help people with body work, is that right?
I'm not doing, I stopped doing body work and massage therapy about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And then I focused on just doing remote work, quantum type level work.
Hmm.
And I haven't, like, I still do it if it's upon request, but I'm not actively putting myself out there like, oh, this is what I do. And I think it's just because I don't know, I'm changing and
Hmm.
I'm growing and expanding, and there's a lot happening within myself. I got hit with skin cancer at the beginning of the year, and I've had two surgeries, and that kind of threw me for a loop. Like, oh, what is this? What is this about? And
Hmm.
it's wanting to understand that and accept that, accept that and embrace it. That's okay. Like you can be a we are spiritual people. We have earthly things that happen to us, and it's we can't separate those things. Like that's part of the journey, I think. And
Right.
this book has really helped. The Way of Mastery has really helped me with a lot of that um, recently. So
Yeah.
it's amazing that it's a perfect timing. Everything is the perfect timing, really. Um, so
Yeah. So let me share that. A good segue for our meeting. So Tyler's talking about this study guide, The Way of Mastery, which and Tyler is part of the academy now. I'm so excited because he's part of Kumara Academy. And we are starting a study group on Yeshua's teachings from the Way of Mastery, which starts September 22nd, once a month or every 2 weeks now. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, September.
I think it's the 30th is what I saw on my website.
I will trust your memory before I trust mine. I
Okay.
have to look at my calendar to see what I'm doing for the day. But yeah, so September 30th. So for those watching that would like to join us for the Way of Mastery study group, I'll put the links down below. But yeah, so do I had a question I wanted to ask you. I love that you talk with the trees. I love that.
Mhm.
That is amazing. Do you talk with the any other elementals?
Yeah, like it was about when I started to talk about again my story. I have seen them now and again here in Hawaii. And then yeah, there's a goddess here that's very active. They call her Tutu Pele. She's the volcano that's very active right now. And I've had actually my mom, because she's kapuna, which means she's an elder. So I take care of her. She has some physical stuff happening. So I came back to Hawaii to help her. And she's very connected to Tutu Pele. And we are like so yeah, like she'll come in and give me guidance, or she's very, very powerful.
Yeah,
And I don't like to talk too much about it because it's like I know there can be, and the reason why I say that is because it's like there's an honoring and respect for the Hawaiian culture, and I don't want to appear as I'm this white guy that comes in with knowledge about what that means to the people here. And so I can only speak of my experience and just say that um, she's alive on the island, very alive. And yeah.
nice. Yeah. Yes. Do you, I okay, so I'm way out there. All right. And I'm going to change the subject right here for a second. Hopefully,
Okay.
you're okay. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'm out there with extraterrestrials and things like that because I'm a contactee, which I remembered after my NDE, that type of thing, where I'm as a child I was being uh, taken into programs. And but then it got better after I was remembering it because I was healing it, and so now I just work with better, higher dimensional beings. But I've
Mhm.
heard that there is a space arc in uh, around one of the volcanoes. I'm not sure which one. Do you know anything about this? A buried space ark?
I don't know, what is that?
A ship, large, very large ship that there was a lot of them during the galactic wars. There was a lot of them that were buried on the planet and across the galaxy or star system. I'm not sure which. Uh, so that for times like now, where when the time comes when people are waking up and remembering our star heritage and stuff like that, that these ships are going to start coming up, and they're already kind of coming up in the oceans and things like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it
do,
doesn't surprise me. I see um well, yeah, I see UFOs almost every night, right? Because I have
yeah,
a view from where I sleep, and then it's like lava, 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 and then there's the ocean. So not every night, but I would say it, if I wake up in the middle of the night and I open my eyes, I more than likely will see something. So, and there are sightings all the time on this island. I know a lot of the islands that by the volcanoes, like
mm.
Haleakala, Maui, um,
Are you on the Big Island?
Kilauea. What's that?
Are you on the Big Island?
I'm on the Big Island. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
So there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of activity around here. So
Right.
it wouldn't surprise me that there would be something underneath the ground.
Yeah, I was wondering if any of the natives or anyone, that's had experiences had any information on that.
Yeah, so like that's a tricky one too. It's like, talking to a kapuna that would be willing to give that information, I guess. A
Right.
lot of the Hawaiians believe that they did come from the stars.
Hmm.
Um, there's a huge I've heard of, I don't know for sure, but I've heard that, some of them have said that they come from the Pleiades, or that they have connections with Pleiadians.
Hmm.
Um, So, when I did learn the star system called wayfinding here in Hawaii, I did learn that they do believe that they came from the stars that we all have, you know.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I remember 27 years ago when I was with my ex right after my NDE, and I was remembering our heritage. And we were in Cancun. That's right. And we were just sitting there with a couple we met there at the bar or whatever. And we were talking about, I don't remember what we were talking about, but I said, well, everyone here comes from the stars. We come from different planets and different star systems. They all looked at me, including my boyfriend at the time, like I had five heads, you know? And he even said, why did you say something so crazy? I'm like, well, it's true. Now we're knowing that. We're finding that out. Yeah.
Uh,
I
it's
had
just about connecting to the right people, Sharon,
I just had
right?
a
Like
couple of drinks
eventually
in
it's
me.
like
I'm like, I didn't care. I had a couple of drinks in me. Why did you say it? But yeah, I kind of
yeah,
look.
well, good for
I
you.
mean,
Why not?
why not? Yeah, I'm in not Hawaii, but I'm in Cancun, having a good time, drinking a couple of drinks.
There's
Yeah,
so many things that I wanted to say like that as a kid, and it's like I didn't, so if someone can say it for me like you did, I think that's but I'm
yeah,
getting braver in that area. I think we all are, now that
we
we're
are.
seeing that, oh, there's possibilities, you know,
Yeah,
and
and
experiences.
I think that a lot of people are waiting for someone to bridge or to broach the subject, if that's the right word, to talk about it. And especially here in the Northwest, there's a lot of stuff going on here in the Northwest, and so if you bring it up, then invariably there's going to be someone more times than not will say, you know what, I saw something weird in the sky one time, or yeah, I've seen ghosts, or I've had weird experiences. Because I believe everyone has had some kind of experience that they don't feel they could talk to people about.
So true. Isn't that be interesting? Yeah, I would love well, not that I have power to do that, but like create a platform. Well, you're doing that. You're creating a platform for people to come and be like, oh,
Yeah,
I have a space to actually talk about it. So, I mean, there you go. It's like, but yes, like I think there are a lot of people that have a lot going on inside them that they would love to express or
right.
find people that they could express that with, in communication and community.
Oh yeah,
Um,
totally. I have a support group here in the Beaverton, Portland area where we meet in person once a month, and then also started a online group. So yeah, and most of the people, not all of them, most of the people say it's a lot of their family they can't even talk about it, not even broach the subject. You know what I mean?
yeah, right.
Yeah, which is sad, but
It's
I think we're guided to people also that understand what you're, or that you can connect with, this, and that you can connect with, and you feel it intuitively if you can say something or not, maybe.
think so. I think we have that. That's like part of the bigger divine plan that, God connects us with people that we can't connect with, so we can find the ones that we can connect with. It's, you
Yeah,
know, and we eventually come back to that place. Um, and for me, going through my journey for many years, I had to ask for it. I couldn't just be like, oh, because I would get into my head and be like, oh, nobody understands me. Nobody, you know, I, I don't know why I'm feeling this way, but it's like when I began to ask, like, okay, Jesus, okay, God, like connect me to the people that are my family, that can
right.
understand me and that I can have a relationship with, then it happens.
It happens. Definitely. Yeah. Thank you for saying that because there's a lot of people that don't have people to talk to.
No.
It, especially if they're starting their spiritual journey, and it's a lonely journey. It can be a
And
lonely journey.
it can be very lonely. Yeah.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
we're the only ones that are on it personally,
Right.
and everything else comes and goes. People come and go, experiences come and go. So we're the only one that's going to be with us for our whole life.
Right.
So in
Yeah.
that sense, yeah, it's lonely, but when we can connect, um, that helps too. Like,
Oh yeah. When you get that connection, then you don't feel lonely anymore. Yeah. And then we realize, oh wait, it's just us anyway. It's just me. That's it.
right.
We're one. We're everything. Everything.
Yeah. We cannot be left out of the
Mm.
kingdom.
Yeah, totally. You mentioned we're about out of time here, but I just want you mentioned that when you were in that oneness space, that there wasn't anyone around or anything like that. You just saw the nature, all of nature, which is what we all need to help us get into balance anyway, get grounded and stuff. Um, were there people around it, on the physical realm or not?
Well, I was a couple miles or so into the woods, so I didn't really notice. I might have heard a few calls because sometimes those trails were active, but I don't remember voices or people or anything like that.
Did you ever find out who found you?
No.
Mm,
So what happened, is so yeah, very strange. Like I got into the ambulance. Obviously, they took me to the ER, and then I woke up. So I asked them, like, well, who found me? I want to thank them. And they said, we have no record of who found you. And so I don't like I took that as, oh, maybe the fairies called, or maybe, that there was some kind of intervention that happened. But usually they have to get records when people call, like, what is your name? Where do you live? Who do you see this? That's like protocol from what I've heard.
right.
But there was no record, and which is very strange. Well, I
Yeah.
guess you could say it's strange, but maybe it's not. um And then what also happened was, you know, like what felt like a divine thing that happened. Like my parents were, well, it was more so my dad than my mom, but he had said at the time he was kind of worried about the bills, you know, the ER bills and the hospital bills. And so I called them to get information about that. And they said, "Oh, you're a charity case. You don't have to pay any of the bills." I'm like, "A charity case?" And so those were completely comped. And I thought that was very interesting. So there was like, you know, there was magic happening, you know, even after the crash. So
Wow. Excuse me. That's crazy. I'm choking up over here.
you
That's
okay?
amazing. Yeah, I'm fine. That is amazing. I love that. It's it's it you know, it's crazy how these miracles work in near death experiences, how they I guess manipulate the matrix some way somehow. You know what I mean? I Which is what one thing I wanted to say is that I saw the matrix in a grocery store. I was in I was shopping. This is after my NDE when I was going through this intense awakening, and everything disappeared except I saw the blue and green grid lines, and it lasted a few seconds. There was no people either because It made me think of it because you said that there wasn't any people, and I don't remember seeing any people in the grocery store, just the grid lines of the matrix. And it made me realize, okay, I'm projecting all this. I'm projecting all of this. What are the people, NPCs? Did they just show up? You know what I mean? So it's crazy. I've seen the Matrix since then a couple times after that. But have you ever had an experience like that where you see the grid?
Yeah, I have just like randomly like closing my eyes and like seeing it almost like in the sky.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, like around on the sky. But yeah, that's interesting. It's almost like a blank slate for a second, right? Like, okay,
right.
so maybe we don't see the things we don't need to see and only perceive the things that we're meant to you know, that we create or what we perceive to, I don't even know what I'm saying, but I don't know if I'm making sense,
Right?
but like, you know,
Yeah, I'm thinking
eventually we're only going to see love and we're only going to see light in a world that appears to be falling apart, you know. I
yes.
That's kind of how I feel about it. Like you know, when I'm really happy and joyous, I only see happy and joyous experiences. When I'm, you know, if I'm angry or if I move into a place of judgment, like I'm like, "Oh, wait, like why are people judging me? Oh, because I'm judging myself." You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that
Great
we're gonna
masters.
it's like we're yeah, the way mastery, it's like we're learning how to master to we're relearning. We already know this.
Right. We're remembering.
We're remembering.
Yeah. That's what Christ is helping us with for sure. Totally. This has been a pleasure, Tyler. Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we close?
Um, no, I don't think so. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
It is and we'll see more of each other for sure. It is are you okay with people contacting you if they want to?
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
put your information down in the details then.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds wonderful. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again. And this has been a joy. And thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you
Thank you,
again.
everybody.
I'm Sharon Kamara, and you have been listening to Awakened Soul Radio on Transformation Talk Radio. I invite you to embark on a transformative journey with us. Awakened Soul is a safe, sacred space for exploring the depths of our consciousness. Each episode, you will be inspired to shed the illusions that bind you, connect more deeply with your inner wisdom, and step into a liberating life of freedom, clarity, and purpose. To connect with me, visit kumaraacademy.com.